Hi, everyone, and welcome. We'll just go ahead and get started here in just another minute or so. Let people come in, trickle into the room. Have a huge group today, but this is Diversion Strategies Recycling Solutions Chat. There are some new names on here, but many are familiar. Welcome back. As many of you know, we've been offering these webinars since 2019 in an effort to educate local government solid waste managers and implementers of solid waste and recycling policy solutions for implementing in their jurisdictions. And today we're here to talk about the Recycle Right Coalition, which is a new endeavor of our firm's Diversion Strategies. I know I still see people coming in, so we'll give it a minute before we get started here. Okay, well, it is 4 after 11. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Diversion Strategies Recycling Solutions webinar. Today, we're here to introduce everyone to the Recycle Right Coalition, which we have chatted about before on our webinars and introduced you to. Today, we're going to be formally introducing our municipal membership. If you remember, a couple of months ago, we held one of these webinars asking for feedback and input from a lot of you about what you would like to see in a coalition like the Recycle Right Coalition. We've taken that feedback along with feedback that we've received from reaching out to many of you individually and created a municipal membership. So we're really excited to let you know what the benefits are of joining the Recycle Right Coalition, either as a networking member or an advocacy member, and continue the dialogue and conversation over what we're trying to accomplish in California, but also beyond. California is where we started, but we intend to grow our coalition and into other states as well. So here with me today is my partner, Erin Merrill, and one of the co-founders of the Recycle Right Coalition. And she'll be joining us a little bit later on to talk about the membership. Okay, so this is a little bit of a review because I know many of you have heard this, but we'll start with what is the Recycle Right Coalition? So as many of you know, if you've been following us, coming to our webinars over the last 4 years or so, Diversion Strategies is a consulting firm based in Sacramento, made up of myself and Erin Merrill. Our background is on the private side of the solid waste and recycling industry. We spent 10 years on the private side, myself on starting out on legislative and regulatory affairs for recology. So understand at the time that many of the policies that we're talking about today were being thought about and formed, like mandatory commercial organics and mandatory commercial recycling. That's kind of where I got my feet wet. And then shortly thereafter moved into operations to understand, well, how do these policies that we're creating at the state level trickle down into operations and affect contracts, affect the facilities that material is flowing to, and spent 5 years overseeing collection contracts, post-collection facilities for recology, and was the executive vice president overseeing the Central California operations. And then 7 years ago, started our firm Diversion Strategies with my partner, Erin Merrill, who was responsible for overseeing the development and infrastructure across the Pacific Northwest. And we really started Diversion Strategies because we saw that there was an opportunity in the market to lend our skills and knowledge while infrastructure was being built to support these policy goals of the state, namely SB 1383. And while we did work with and have worked with and continue to work with many developers of that infrastructure in the state, what we also found our niche in was helping a lot of innovators in the industry that were starting to emerge to offer solutions in the market to help local governments and generators of solid waste and recycling to comply with the ever-increasing goals placed on them for recycling and diversion. So over the last 7 years, we've been working with these companies in many different verticals, from edible food recovery to organics recycling and natural gas production to advanced technologies like AI and robotics in MRFs, to vision systems that look at contamination in collection bins. And with our experience, we found that these voices that are solution providers in the market needed a coalescence and a coming together to raise their profile as solution providers, but also address some of the challenges that come with providing innovative services in the market today. So that's the journey that we've been on, and one of our early supporters is State Treasurer Fiona Ma, who was one of the people that were pushing us to coalesce these voices, and continues to be a supporter of the coalition and its endeavors. So this is the team that makes up the Recycle Right Coalition, myself and Erin, that you see here on screen and have been seeing for the past many years on our Recycling Solutions webinar. And we have also brought onto the team Tanner Kelly, who is our on-the-ground lobbyist in Sacramento, and provides those advocacy services and more of the political side of what we do with the Recycle Right Coalition. So yep, Tanner knows a lot of people in the legislature and has been wonderful addition to the team. Has put together 2 very strong lobby days where we met with legislators and discussed our members, policy goals and initiatives, as well as just discussing who they are in the market, the solutions that they're offering, and how they want to come into California and invest. And so we have had 2 successful lobby days, as well as we have recently opened up a political action committee as well. And Tanner is really overseeing the growth and development of the political side of the Recycle Right Coalition, while Erin and I are your technical experts and your policy wonks, waste nerds, whatever you want to call us. That's who we are. You guys know us as the waste nerds, and we will remain so. Once it's, as you all well know, once it's in your blood, you just can't get it out. You fall in love with waste and recycling. So today, we want to introduce the coalition and its members to you all, introduce the membership tiers for municipalities. As I said before, we're going to be rolling out a local government membership, and then just have an open discussion. We have a couple of questions and to get the conversation going, and answer any questions that you guys may have. We knew right away that once we started the coalition, the importance of getting the everyone who's on this call, but the solid waste managers and implementers of these policies and rules involved in what we were doing, because you all are really the ones that are on the hook, so to speak, for ensuring compliance with the policy objectives of policies like SB 1383 SB 54 and any other producer responsibility that's coming down the pike, while you work with service providers to help you get there, ultimately it lands on you to achieve these goals. Otherwise, you're facing fines and penalties, and also probably not very happy, friendly conversations with your elected officials at the city level or the county level. So again, ultimately it is on you. And since our members represent solution providers and companies that are emerging in the market to address some of the most challenging waste and recycling issues of our time, we wanted to make sure that we had a voice on the local government side that could provide input into our policy goals and objectives and how you actually achieve them in the real world. And those policy objectives are on our website, which actually will drop a link to our website in the chat, so you guys can check it out a little bit more after the call. But these policy objectives, one is to modernize solid waste and recycling governance. And that's just ensuring that that there's streamlined waste and recycling regulations that provide clarity, promote innovation, and prioritize waste diversion while fostering fair competition. Promoting public engagement and transparency. This has to do with ensuring that both local jurisdictions and consumers have full access and transparency in what is happening with their materials once they enter different material streams, enter different markets. That's something that our members can provide easily with their with a lot of their data, their technology advancements, including AI and robotics technology. And we just think that that makes for better decision making at the local level when you can have clear insight and transparency into what is happening with the materials that are flowing through your solid waste management systems. And finally, integrating technology and innovation. So ensuring that any policies are looking at opportunities to weave technology and innovation into implementation. An example of this would be with the SB 54, with their needs assessment, just ensuring that as they're looking at what the baseline is, for materials, that they are also looking at the needs to achieve the goals and including technology and any modern ways of managing solid waste these materials into that needs assessment. So that's just an example of where we want to ensure that as these policies are being implemented, that we are looking at the most advanced technology available to get us there. Because a lot of times, you know, that technology results in efficiencies, which reduce costs. You know, our overall goal is to make recycling easier, more efficient, less costly, and effective and actually working for the jurisdiction and meeting its goals. This is an example of where our members are offering solutions to policies that will eventually be rolled out into local jurisdictions. Everybody is probably aware of SB 1013. Draft regulations are out now. We're in a 45-day public comment period. At the same time, we have $40 million CalRecycle is allocating for local governments, recyclers, and nonprofits and dealers to comply with SB 1013. So one of our members is our Planet Recycling. They are implementing the Bottle Bank program in the city of San Francisco. This is a modern bag drop program that utilizes technology and convenience to get more participation in the CRV program. And so this company is really looking at SB 1013 and saying, what can we do to get involved with the dealer cooperative and offer this type of solutions for more local governments? So they're really looking at policy and then innovating to match the compliance needs of local jurisdictions, dealers, recyclers. And they are currently speaking to multiple municipalities about partnering on these innovation grants to comply with the new SB 1013 requirements. So this is just an example of one of our members, what they offer and how they're innovating as a result of policy. And their main goal is ensuring compliance with the program. Just another quick sort of description of some of our members and what they're offering in the field and in California today. One of our members is Divert. They offer solutions to large generators of organic waste, mostly food waste. Think your major grocery retailers. And they are utilizing AI to run their wasted food supply chains across conveyors to identify what is available for food recovery to divert to food banks or other nonprofits in need in the local community, as well as providing source reduction information back to their generators. So this process really looks at all the barcodes, can identify what's being wasted, what is recoverable for edible food, and also showing trends in what's wasted so that they can then give that information back to the generators to initiate source reduction activities. So an example of that would be purchasing decisions. Like you are wasting, we're seeing on Tuesdays, a bunch of strawberries coming in from this store. Don't order as many strawberries, or, that's an example of the sort of services that they're offering that are more holistic in nature for these large generators. It addresses source reduction, it addresses diversion, it addresses food recovery. This is a company that is one of our founding members and wants to invest in infrastructure in the state. Divert. They're just, if you're in the Turlock area, they are just finishing up construction probably in May or June on a anaerobic digester there in the Turlock area. And it will have all of these wonderful attributes to the facility. The next to it is AMP Robotics. You may be familiar. I know they've been on our webinar several times. They are utilizing AI and robotics to identify materials in the recycling stream and sort them for better commodity pricing, reducing contamination. They are also seeking to build secondary MRFs, and that is essential infrastructure component to SB 54, and ensuring that we are utilizing the most up-to-date technology-based solutions to create efficient sorting of our commodities and our material stream. Also, Ridwell is another example of one of our members. They are a company that's offering doorstep subscription service that is a doorstep service for hard to recycle items that are not currently being recycled through the curbside program. So think, your Amazon packaging, your chip bags, multi-layer plastics like chip bags, granola bar wrappers. They are offering collection solutions, and people are paying above and beyond what their current rate is for their traditional rates to engage in a service that will divert those materials to a higher and better use. And certainly we see Ridwell as an example of an alternative or supplemental collection system that SB 54 is looking at. These are, you know, this company has emerged as a result of producer responsibility policies, of course, also just consumer awareness. Like, you know, you're probably starting to get more questions from your customers than ever before on where is my recycling going? Is this getting recycled when I put it in the blue bin? There's just a wave of consumer consciousness happening around recycling right now, as you all are experiencing. And it's resulted in the emergence of solutions like Ridwell, where people are willing to pay above and beyond to divert these materials away from the landfill. It also provides solutions for reusables like, you know, winter coats to a local nonprofit that's collecting, you know, has certain needs for certain types of reusable goods throughout the year. So this is also a service that can address reuse in a way that typical curbside services have never offered or maybe not even considered. Whoops. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna take a pause, maybe a drink of water here, and turn it over to Erin to talk about our membership tiers.
Yeah, I'll let Rachel catch her breath here for a minute. Great to have you all on. Thank you so much for joining us today. Based, as Rachel mentioned earlier, based on the feedback that we've received after the last webinar, as well as our outreach to some other jurisdictions, since we've received some really great feedback that has helped form our local government or municipal membership level. Before we get into that, we'll just very quickly run into what the current structure is for corporate and organizational members, and that in those memberships, there's 3 different levels. There's a general membership, which is really an informational level where these members you have access to a monthly meeting and have opportunities to provide some feedback, but really it's more just availability of information of what's happening through the coalition and relevant to the coalition. We have an associate level membership that is a bit more interactive, a bit more participatory. It includes not just these monthly meetings and other opportunities, but stakeholder meeting or monthly, or not monthly, but regular roundtable meetings with stakeholders in the recycling space, whether that's Cat Recycle or other folks who are instrumental within the recycling and recovery issues here within the state and even out of state. And then also the associate members have an ability to advance, recommendations, have votes on what the coalition pushes forward. And then we have our executive members, which is kind of a specialized advocacy. They also guide the direction of the coalition and really are instrumental in trying to make sure that the different factions of various areas of recycling, reuse, recovery are all reflected as innovators here in the space. So another key stakeholder that we realized and really want to foster, especially going back to Rachel and I's industry experience, is that the key stakeholders also in the recycling space and recycling policy is local government. This could, be local government as a hauler, as a processor, but also more so local government as an important stakeholder, because as Rachel mentioned, you guys are the ones who are out there putting that policy into actual implementation and really trying to find solutions for your, for your residents, for your businesses, for your constituents. So we really want to make sure that that voice is heard, as well as provide the access for local government to our innovative members and vice versa. So we have rolled out our local government or municipal membership. It's really a two-tier membership. So in feedback from the last webinar, where access to these innovators was identified as really a big area of interest, we have a free membership that would gain access to our monthly meeting, as well as webinar or networking opportunities within our membership to learn more about these technologies and engage with our members. So that's a free membership. We also received feedback about assistance on advocacy. And so that would be a paid membership that would provide advocacy support, as well as lobbying services or even interactions and interactions through the coalition, and really a more hands-on and strategic membership level. So under those two, under the two municipal or local government levels, again, we have a free networking, and then we have a low-cost advocacy membership. So these are outlined on our website. We have a special tab for local government specifically that outlines these two levels and provides a bit more information. If this is something that you believe that your local government would be interested in, please reach out. We'd be happy to talk further with you or provide any more information. But again, we think it's a really great opportunity, not only for making sure that the local government, cities, counties, JPAs, that they are reflected in the policy principles of our coalition, but also making sure that these innovative solutions are being shared between local government and our members who are providing those. And again, as mentioned, all this is on our website, which we will drop that link into the chat.
Thanks, Erin. So yeah, now we wanted to open it up to discussion. Erin, I'm having a hard time accessing the toolbar. Oh, there it is. Now I see we have one chat in there. I'm going to just drop the link to our website in there, and you'll see that there is a local government tab. So feel free to click on that, and that will give you information regarding the price point of the advocacy, which is $2,000 a month, and some of the other benefits. I will also share that we have on the advocacy level, you'll have access to our lobby days, as well as our stakeholder roundtables. This most upcoming stakeholder roundtable will actually be having past executive director Rachel Wagner join us to give her insights and thoughts into where the agency is going, what they'll be working on, just a nice Q&A with former Director Wagner. So that is an example of a stakeholder. We've also had legislative staffers, Cal Recycle staff. We've had the California Retailers Association. That's another focus area of ours, is really bringing in those other regulated stakeholders like retailers and grocers and not so much producers, but retailers and grocers that are on the hook for some of the policies that we mentioned before as well. Yeah, so access to those stakeholder roundtables. So before we get discussing, I love to talk about Scrap because it's really one of our coolest, I think I wish that they could be more involved, but they are a startup, but they have one of the coolest technologies, which is a barcode scanner, quite a robust database. In fact, they've been working with Cal Recycle because they have a more robust data set than the state does on what's recyclable and what's not in different communities across the US. They have a barcode scanner. You can scan any product, and it will show all of its component parts, what's recyclable, what's not, and you put in your zip code as well, so it can pull from where you are. Really great stuff, and the founder, Mikey Pizzuto, is wonderful, and I really encourage you all to just download this app because I have fun with it. I have my kids use it. It's quite fun. So open up for discussion. Any questions that you might have, feel free to jump on the video, put it in the chat, set a meeting with us to talk at another time if you don't feel comfortable sharing publicly or talking publicly about it. But I'm going to just put some polls out because we have a couple of polls for you guys, if you wouldn't mind participating. And one is around innovation. So I'm going to pop that one up here. Just curious as to where in the material supply chain you see the most need for innovative solutions. Like, where are you struggling to move the needle and it's just not moving in the direction that you need it to? Is it in education and engaging your customer base? Is it on the collection side where you're like, we need different collection solutions, different bins, different, ways of doing it? Is it on the processing side where you're like, you know what, we're working with infrastructure from 30 years ago. We need updates on our processing. Is it recyclable markets, actually finding markets for your recyclable commodities or breaking them down further so you have more recyclable commodities and more availability to markets? Is it finding opportunities for reuse? Or is it just like, you know what, we need innovation everywhere? All of it. We're seeking innovation. I see somebody click that one. That's great. We'll just keep that up for another minute. Anything you want to say about that? Thank you so much, Judith. Okay. I think we've gotten the participation on that one. Maybe you guys are just really thoughtful about this, really getting philosophical. I'll go ahead and end the poll. Okay, so we had one with education, one collection, one all of the above. Love it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I've always said this, and Erin is going to sound like I'm like a broken record, but maybe you guys are hearing it for the first time. Maybe you've heard me say this a million times on this webinar, but the further up the supply chain you get, the more impact you're going to have on efficiency and costs and everything else. And I often say that education is the first step in the supply chain. It's like, if we can just invest in educating the consumers more and making it more convenient to them, then that will have a trickle-down impact throughout the whole supply chain that increases efficiency, reduces cost, increases the value of commodities. Like, it hits on everything when you invest in education. Definitely a passion line of mine. Yeah, and that's what I really love. Like these two examples right here that we have on the screen. Like, this is interacting with the consumer in a way that the consumer of today understands. Like, we're looking at our phones all the time. Mailers, I don't know. I don't know if it's a dying art of interacting with our consumers, but it sort of feels like it. And then we have one other poll. Oh, let's see. Here we go. This is just to get your thoughts on advocacy. Do you know, is your jurisdiction active in advocating in solid waste and recycling policy? I know there's, your rural counties organization that is really active. You have the CSAC and League of Cities that are avenues for advocacy for your jurisdictions. I'm not sure if that's how you guys typically advocate on these policies, or if you are finding you're having to do it yourself. but just interested in, you know, how you feel your access to like advocating for yourself, on these policies that are affecting your everyday life. How much you feel you have access to that kind of advocacy. Keep it up for a little bit longer, but if you want to jump in the chat or discuss it over audio, we're here to hear you. Well, we have one of you that's unsure, which makes sense. You're focused on implementing things, doing the work.
Just a few things happening with
Yeah.
state policy.
Well, I'll go ahead and end that poll. We only had one responder, so we don't have to share the results.
Yeah, I think a few people had to hop off at the half hour.
Great. Well, that concludes our topic and our conversation for today. Really encourage everyone to take a look at our website and our offerings and give us a call. That's my personal cell phone number. Send me a text. You know, always willing and open to discussing any and all things that are on your mind around recycling solutions. Even if you're not a member, we're here. We're going to continue to put on these recycling solutions webinar and try and create a container for solid waste and recycling managers to, you know, learn more about what is possible, what's out there, what's being innovated, and what could potentially work for your jurisdiction. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be seeing you soon. You'll hear from us soon, I'm sure. We'll be having another webinar, I'm sure, in the month of April. Thank you, Irene. Thank you for coming. All right. Well, with that, we'll close today's webinar and we'll chat with you soon. Keep up the good work. That's how I always like to end it. Like, you guys, I know it's a struggle out there right now, you know, implementing all these policies, and none of it would get done without you. You're like, sometimes people feel like they're like a cog in the wheel, and if they left, like, it would be okay. But I don't think that's true with any of you guys. You know, I know you're doing the work of so many people, and oftentimes, and we're here to help. So keep doing the good work, and we appreciate you. All right. See everyone soon.
Thank you.